Okay, welcome to Dictate Boxing. So I've just finished watching the launch presser for Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora. Obviously, they fight April 4th at the O2 Arena in London. And first initial thoughts from that presser is, this is kind of a peaceful one, isn't it? To be honest, don't get me wrong. Deontay Wilder did make it clear when it comes fight night, the friendship's going to be out the window and they're going to put on a war. They're going to go to kill each other. And the kind of demeanour that Deontay Wilder's been bringing this week, obviously all the media duties to hype up this fight, is very old Wilder-like. I mean, I'm going to assume a lot of you have seen what happened in the studio at TalkSport between Simon Jordan and Deontay Wilder, and Simon Jordan is actually just a master, isn't he? Like, you can like him, you can hate him. Ultimately, Simon Jordan is an absolute master at what he does. I think Wilder, look, he went a little bit over the top, didn't he? And if you didn't see it, basically, Simon Jordan was just pointing out some of the conspiracies that Wilder has around Tyson Fury and the fights that they had, and about Tyson Fury basically being a cheat, according to Deontay Wilder. Wilder didn't like that. He bit pretty bad, and he jumped up out of his seat and he was literally sticking it on Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan just sat there as calm and cool as you like. And yeah, he's an absolute master. The sport of boxing need people like Simon Jordan. I think he's amazing for the sport. Again, you don't have to like Simon Jordan, but he asks the straight questions that we want the answers to. And he's not scared to do it. He's not scared to speak his mind. And again, I don't always agree with what he says, but ultimately, he says what he thinks. And I think, again, Wilder went a little bit over the top. But on the flip side, it does make me think, okay, we got a bit of the old Wilder back. Obviously, we know what's been going on. Well, we don't know the in-depths, but we know that he's not been okay in the past few years. Mentally, he said that in the press conference. Obviously, this Wilder seems very much like the old Wilder, whereas before Joseph Parker, before Zhilei Zhang, it was a very different Wilder, and we saw what happened in the ring. But what are my thoughts around this fight? Obviously, it's the 50th fight for both of those. This is going to be Derek Chisora's farewell. Look, we haven't spoke since I changed the channel and everything, so I'm going to repeat basically everything that I spoke about a couple of weeks ago when we thought Wilder was going to be fighting Usyk and Chisora we thought was going to be fighting Wardley. Obviously, that's not the case now. I'm a lot more okay with this than Usyk and Wilder. We know that the reason Usyk wanted that fight against Deontay Wilder was because obviously when he was coming up as a heavyweight into the heavyweight division, he had a three-man hit list being Joshua, Fury, Wilder. Took out Fury and AJ twice, and then obviously wanted the bronze bomber on his resume, didn't he? That didn't end up coming into fruition, so it's going to be Derek Chisora. And I think it makes sense. You know, you got two fighters that are, let's be honest, over the hill. And we know that Chisora is going to bring a war. He's going to scrap. And we know that Wilder's got that equalizer. We haven't seen it in a long time. But if he lands it, and I guess that is the selling point, if he lands it, it could be a very dangerous situation for Derek Chisora. I guess the problem is we've not seen that in a long, long time. But look, overall, I think all the media that they're doing this week is really, really good. They're showing a balance between being friends, not needing to throw tables across the room, not needing to push each other. The fight is already sold. It's Chisora versus Wilder. It's Chisora's final fight. You know that it's going to be entertaining. And at the end of the day, to the naked eye of a casual boxing fan, they don't necessarily care about belts, world championships, or pound-for-pound rankings. They don't give a shit about that. They want to see a good, entertaining fight. And with Chisora, you're guaranteed that. And with Wilder, if it's the Wilder of the past, you're guaranteed that as well. You're guaranteed a knockout in this fight. I'm going to assume. I don't see both of these making it to the 12th round and seeing out the final 12th round. And so, yeah, I think it sells already. I think they're smashing out the promotion and the marketing really well this week. Obviously, we still got over a month until this fight happens anyway. So, yeah, doing a really good job with this. I'm pretty sure they're going to do really good numbers pay-per-view-wise. And I think they'll do good numbers in ticket sales at the O2. But anyways, I want to talk about... What should I talk about? I want to quickly touch on Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. Obviously, they had that massive fight on the weekend. If you want to go and see my reaction, go back and watch that. But first, keep listening to this. So, I heard... I'm going to assume you lot heard this as well. Shakur Stevenson came out, and this is kind of really sad. You know, it's kind of heartbreaking to hear this, but Shakur Stevenson basically said on, I think it was Cigar Talk, that obviously after the fight, he went to the hospital to do his, his checks and everything. And he saw Tio in there. Apparently Tio was just in there on his own. He had no one around him. And it's kind of like, especially when you see the interview that Tio did on the stomping ground, how down he was, how let down he was. And yeah, it was really sad to hear that, because I think it really highlights what boxing can be. 1 minute you can be on top of the world, everyone's around you, and then when you lose, everyone fucks off. And I'm so glad that I've seen from Tio a few hours ago, or yesterday, last night, whenever it was. He posted some clips on his Instagram story of him training, back in the gym, on his own, out running at 3 a.m. in the morning. Good. Obviously, he's told us that he's going to 147 pounds. Good. Get back on the horse, bounce back, go beat someone as a welcomer into 147 pounds, and then go for a world title. Because I think he can win a world title, again, at 147 pounds. But I mentioned a couple of days ago that I was worried a little bit that we might not see Tio for a couple of years because of how damaging that defeat against Shakur would have been. That's why I'm so relieved to have seen him just back in the gym. Don't dwell on it. Don't sit there sulking about it. At the end of the day, I think everyone will lose to Shakur Stevenson. He's a master at what he does. He's the best at what he does. So there's, not too much shame in losing to Shakur Stevenson. But anyways, I want to get to the main topic of the video, and that surrounds a Mr. Conor Benn. I did a TikTok talking about this yesterday or the day before, and we need to have a serious discussion about Conor Benn's star power at the minute, because it feels like all the significant names in and around his weight division, mostly these American stars, all want a piece of Conor Benn. And the reason for that is because he's the money fight. He is, and he talks shit as well. He hypes it up as well. He gets on social media, he posts out all the time on social media, and it's so smart. I'm hearing a lot of people moaning about him getting in the ring and going face to face with Shakur after that fight. Shakur called him into the ring. What do you want him to do? Shakur won that fight, went onto the corner of the rope, started celebrating, and started pointing at Conor and talking shit. He then followed it up in his post-fight interview and literally said, I got my motivation from Conor Benn. Where is he at? Or whatever he said. Anyways, he basically called out Conor Benn, and Conor Benn came in the ring. What do you want him to do? And some people will say, yeah, but Conor Benn's not on his level too. That's not for me and you to say. At the end of the day, if Shakur's going to call him out while he's in the ring and Conor's sat ringside, I'd be more annoyed if Conor didn't get in the ring. Again, it's a really good lesson to these other fighters. Put yourself out there. Conor's always active on socials. Remember, he's not won a world title yet. We can sit here and we can question his technical ability as a boxer. But at the end of the day, he's the big money fight because he's playing the game so well. I get it. A lot of people don't like Conor. That's fine. That's your opinion. But you got to see what he's doing and think some of these other fighters need to be taking a leaf out of his book. Because a lot of fighters aren't. And that's why I think these Americans, Rolly, Shakur, Ryan, Devin, these all notice and appreciate what Conor's doing. And that's why they want that fight against Conor. Because if they fight Conor, it's a big stadium filler over here in the UK. Facts. Even Josh Kelly. I don't think Josh Kelly's quite a money fight from his side. But Josh Kelly went and won his first world title. And all him and his trainer have been talking about since then. Not so much Jerome Boots Ennis, to be honest. Not Virgil. Not any of the other world champions. They're talking about Conor Benn, who's going down to 147 pounds if he can make that 147 pound limit. So yeah, it goes to show the star power of Conor Benn right now. That is the fight that everybody wants. And do you know what? I think even if he was to go and lose to, say, a Ryan next, I think that it's not going to make much of a difference. People are going to watch Conor Benn fight anyway. Again, I said it before with the Chisora and Wilder thing. To the casual audience, they don't care about world titles or belts or pound for pound skill. They don't care about that. They want to see entertainment. And Conor Benn put on entertainment against Eubank Jr. in that first fight. And he showed a bit more about him in that second fight. Again, I understand a lot of you watching this right now don't like Conor Benn. That's fine. That's your opinion. That's fine. But you can't deny that this, even if he's a villain for you, good. The sport needs villains. You want to watch people that you want to see get chinned. And make no mistake about it. In terms of styles mate fights, him against Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion, I think he loses. Let me make that one clear. But I think he does a bit more than Tio. And the reason I say that is because he's more explosive. I think he's quicker. and he's fearless. He's willing to take a few bangs to the face to land some of his own. And that's what you need to do to a Shakur Stevenson. You know, we're not in an era where we've got Maidanas, these sort of fighters that are just going to go and stick it on Shakur. The closest thing I think we do have, dare I say it, is Conor Benn. I know he's not a South American, so it doesn't quite link, but profile-wise, I think maybe, in terms of the aggression and the fact he's going to be on the front foot, hunting for a knockout, I think maybe he is. Again, let me reiterate, I think Shakur, I don't see anyone beating Shakur, so, you know, that's my stance on it. But I think a fight with Conor Benn in it is always going to be entertaining. And, yeah. And so I just personally appreciate it because I want the sport of boxing to be at the very highest it can be. And to be at the very highest it can be, you need characters that are going to split opinion. Characters that are going to force opinions in people's minds. And that's what Conor's doing. You know, if you've got an opinion on Conor Benn, you're going to be talking about him. And that's only going to benefit the sport of boxing. But anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Make sure to go follow Dictate Boxing on all socials. Links are down below. Make sure to subscribe to Dictate Boxing right now and like this video. And yeah, we'll speak very soon.